Generally speaking, noise is noise. I mean, yeah, calm environment is better, noisy environment is bad. And noise, generally, when we want to say in technology, when we say anything is noise, essentially it means unstructured data, or you could say random, lots and lots of randomization, a lot of chaos, a lot of entropy. Your picture could be noisy, your sound could be noisy,
Okay.
and of course, audio noise definitely is there. Now, what's interesting about noise is that it doesn't have any pattern whatsoever. That's
True.
what constitutes noise. If you have any definable pattern, you would be able to identify it, and it is not noise anymore. There is a great saying about this thing as well, signal versus noise. You might have heard about that, particularly if somebody
Yeah.
remembers information theory. Cloud Shannon, he gave the he's the guy. Because of him we have Hamming codes, and because of him we have parity bits and all of those things. The guy was really big into information theory, so the
Mhm.
concept comes from there. So now noise actually has a lot of uses in pattern generation. You, if for that matter, if this thing comes as a surprise, you might have seen when wind blows and trees, their leaves are going to start out there. Now in real life, in real physical world, this motion is completely governed by Newtonian laws. It is an example of Brownian motion, where the laws which are governing the motion are fairly simple, but the output is incomprehensibly random and chaotic.
Right.
Okay, here's a very good question. How would you make realistic grass wave, or a realistic, I would say, lava bubbles, or a realistic bubbles in water, or let's say a realistic tree moving in any kind of animation? Hint, hint. The answer is noise.
Okay.
So there are
So how
computer
exactly?
algorithms.
Yeah. Please go ahead.
So, so there are computer algorithms which allow you to simulate very realistic, I would say, randomization, making examples, making uses of something called noise. One of the fundamental thing happens to be out there is called Perlin noise. So it's a very simple equation actually out there.
Mhm.
What Perlin noise is going to do, it's going to give you random numbers between, let's say, certain limits. Generally, we take it between 0 and 1. And then you do that, and you can use that. Let's say if you have a very simple thing where you are going to position where you are going to calculate the tip of a particular leaf which you want to animate out there. So you can animate it by hand, or you could run a function on every tick. This function is going to give you a random number within a certain range, and that is the position of your leaf out there.
Okay.
Let's say you want to make a realistic looking lava surface. There's a lot of stuff going on, there are a lot of layers, sometimes there are particles, sometimes there are bubbles, and all of those things. How would you decide where should a particle go, where should a bubble go, where should a layer go? Answer: generate some noise. Based on the value of those that noise, you drive this whole system. Another
Okay.
example, when you have to model terrain data, like surface data.
Hmm.
This is something which is very useful from a space exploration to, I would say, video game development. How would you simulate, let's say, the realistic roughed rugged surface of a particular site, where maybe your moon rover has to go on out there, or maybe your video game floor should look pretty much like, yeah, it's a dirt road actually, with a lot of imperfections out there. Again, generate some noise, and take the output of that float value which is coming out of your noise algorithm, multiply that by some another value, and that is your height difference from, you could say, the relative mean plane. For some
Okay.
points the height is going to be negative, so they will go a little bit deep. For some points it would be positive,
Awesome.
they would be a little bit up, and you have a realistic looking terrain out there. Now Perlin noise is one example, then you have Fresnel noise, then you have Voronoi noise, and there's a bunch of things out there. I have had a lot of interest into this thing. This actually led me to once I, yeah, okay, fine. So how do you make cool shit with it? Well, you actually pick up any kind of graphics thing, maybe OpenGL or 3JS or whatever, and you go to
Okay.
town with it. So yeah, I really like doing that thing as well. I'll send you some examples like of really interesting terrain generated out there.